has too many sides.
Yeah. Oh, that banner's great.
Ultimately, it was a group of about 30 people. You know, we left, went, staged, waited for everyone to come, then we walked. So there was a number of interactions between sheriffs, deputies, mainly West Virginia State Patrol, who indicated we should just keep on going.
Good job there.
As I told the officer several times, if we can get out of here sooner, everyone will be happier and healthier and safer in this whole situation. When I asked why that van couldn't just come through and pick us up, and he said the street was closed to residents only.
We've had to shut down the road to residents only. That make no sense. They're up there.
He just said they have to shut down the road.
I'm just following what you're saying, okay? Watch it.
Also, I was told by one person that lived in that area that was friendly that a lot of folks that were coming up and down and harassing us did not live in that area. It seemed that it was closed to anyone that wanted to be helpful in the situation of getting us off the side of the road and out of danger from people harassing us.
We got to the police blockade and they let us through. They told us not to come back, and if we showed our faces or our cars there again, we would be arrested. But we observed other cars that were not official cars in any capacity with Friends of Coal stickers being allowed to drive in and out of that blockade, with the police knowing that they were antagonistic.
Looks like we are going to keep moving all the way to the highway until the police allow our caravan of vehicles to come pick us up. And these counter-protesters are going to be following us the whole way.
Property, I pay for this property with that job.
And some of us ain't even my family. Not yours. Get down the road. One thing being after.
Brush your fucking teeth!
There were a couple of points where they intervened to call off the swarm of miners that were around us, which amounted to just telling them to back off, and then the police would leave, and then the miners would come back. So it wasn't any kind of lasting peace.
Maybe we should call the cops again. I mean, we're back to this part of it. Don't look.
I've been a jail supporter on actions. I've followed folks through the legal system, tracked them as they're taken away from mine sites to police stations, courts, gotten people out of jails and such, and interacted with a lot of police and law enforcement in that capacity.
And Jonathan stepped out of the car. He said, "I do not have identification with him." The officer searched him and took his wallet and pulled out his debit card and said, "This is identification. You lied to me. You're under arrest."
I was never read my Miranda rights, and this is an exact quote, but something to the extent of, "You're in the middle of the fucking mountains. I'd stop fucking around if I were you." Slams the door. They were, saying things like, "You're lucky you're in this police car right now. If we let you out, those miners would just beat your ass." Like, "Oh, these miners don't give a fuck. They'll kill you and throw you down into an abandoned mine. There's a lot of places where they won't even find the bodies." Stuff like that. When they asked any kind of question that got to the substance as to why I was in that forest, I pretty much didn't say very much at all, and they were kind of harassing me, and not in a threatening way, but just saying, "I don't get this whole remaining silent thing."
My vehicle was taken as about 120 miners who had a legitimate reason to be angry at anyone who they could identify as a tree hugger that day, walked up the top of the mountain, and I was left without a vehicle. I said to the officer, "I feel unsafe without a way to get down." He said, "Well, looks like you have good walking boots."
So I get let off basically on this little highway in the middle of nowhere with the direction that I can walk a quarter of a mile to the right to a gas station, which turns out there wasn't a payphone there. My cell phone was confiscated by Sergeant O'Brien when I was arrested. I was getting folks who were stopping and harassing me, people who were yelling outside, and this was avoidable. Folks who came here to demonstrate against mountaintop removal and all its atrocities in a way that did not threaten or cause any harm to human life, were put in unsafe situations, and police allowed that to continue just like they've allowed that to continue in the past. And that's what it looks like when the West Virginia State Police operates on behalf of the coal industry.
They knew we were in danger. They had no way, shape, or form offered to help out in any way.
I felt very strongly that with the knowledge that the local police officers knew about the environment, that they most definitely placed us in danger.
The West Virginia State Police were formed in response to the coal wars and were essentially a private arm of industry used in repressing union miners who were fighting for basic decent living conditions, fighting to not be paid in company script, fighting for some level of control over their lives. And that's the origin of the West Virginia State Police. So let's not be surprised when that same institution to this day is being brutal against Appalachians who are standing up to reclaim their homeland, their history, their heritage, and their ecology.